Hey friends, I am so excited for you to listen to this episode. My name is Brittany Bethel. I'm the Executive Director of Cross Connection, and we want to welcome you to the Daring Grace space. We got to talk to two staff alumni, Adam Foster and Allison Dunn, about their experience on Cross Connection staff several years ago, and I'm excited for you to hear our conversation, hear how being on staff shaped them for the really amazing careers they both have now, and just really fun to connect with old friends. I'm excited for you to take a listen. Friends, I'm so excited to talk to Allison Dunn and to Adam Foster today. So, Adam, I would love for you to introduce yourself and just talk about what year you were on staff and what are you up to now?
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name's Adam Foster. I was on staff from 2013, 2014, and 2015. Wow, it seems so long to think about that. Did West Wilkes, Loy White, and then Honduras. And then currently now I am a athletic trainer at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, working with the track and field and cross country teams.
That's awesome. And Allison, would love to hear the years you were on staff, and then also what are you up to?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Allison Dunn. I was on staff 2013 at West Wilkes, 2014 at Loy White, and 2015 at McCall.
Nice.
And currently, I work at a church in Montgomery County, Maryland, doing children and youth ministry, as well as we have a combination ministry with several churches in our area, so I work with that as well. And then I also work one-on-one with an individual with special needs, kind of as a coach during the day, so I bounce around with lots of different things.
That's so cool. Well, I'll say it 1,000 times, but I'm so proud of both of you and who you are, and like an honor for me to get to talk to you, and I haven't seen you in a long time, and so thanks for taking time to do this. I think what we're hoping to talk about today and kind of understand is like this cost of saying yes to something that might be a little scary. And staff training starts on Sunday of this coming week, and so this felt like a good time to talk about all these things, and so would love to hear from both of you. You can take turns. We'll just keep conversation going. But you know, what made you say yes to being on staff, and what do you feel like it cost you? Like, what was your motivator, and what decisions did you have to make to say yes?
Well, I'll start. So I was never a camper at Cross Connection. I actually heard about camp from my friend Chelsea Spires. We went to the University of Delaware together. She basically for months said, hey, you would be perfect to be on staff. I think you should apply. And we still had like paper applications. Like the day she got hers mailed, she knocked on my door and literally handed it to me and said, the application deadline is in a month.
Yeah.
Like, do it now. So I had a background in doing mission trips. My home church had done a summer one and a spring break mission trip. So I was kind of used to the construction side of it, but it was completely new to come to North Carolina and be a part of Cross Connection, and to be on staff. So it took quite a lot to jump into an organization you've never met. And like, because I was so far away, I did like my staff interview on Skype at the time.
Yeah.
And I was actually studying abroad in Germany, so I was in another country when I did my interview. So like, I literally had met one person showing up to staff training, and so it took quite a lot to say yes when you like are going to a new place, new area, just to kind of jump right into it. So.
Yeah, and it's a crazy culture. Like we can acknowledge it here together, right? That it's a culture that, you know, is some people have been in it for 20 years. Some people it's their first time walking in the door. And I mean, I know I probably said it at all staff training every year, but like I had been to camp, but I walked in not knowing anyone either. And it took a lot for me to stay, right? Like it's ironic now. But I remember, like, I still have my journal from training, and I have this story queued up to tell next week. But like, about 3 days into training, I was like, I'm out of here. You know, this isn't for me. And so, yeah, it's a lot. It's to come in not knowing anyone and not understanding the culture. I mean, thank God for Chelsea Spires in so many ways, but for this one, I'll give her a shout out for that. It's the best. That's cool. Adam, what about you? What made you say yes to it?
Yeah, so for me, so I was actually the opposite. So I had done CCC as a camper. If I remember correctly, I believe it was 2 years. Funny enough, it was a kind of cool full circle moment. Was my first year was at Camp Loy White, and I remember, like for me growing up, I would jokingly say I'm a very sheltered child. My parents very much kind of wanted to like keep me enclosed in a good way, and just kind of protect me, and kind of didn't want me to go off doing anything stupid or crazy. And so I remember when I did this, I was a very shy kid, was not one to open up. Like I had very close friends within the church, but that was kind of it. And I remember that first summer as a camper was genuinely terrifying when I found out, because I think my youth leader purposely was kind of like did mention the fact that we were going to be put into random groups. And so I remember being absolutely mortified as like a 14-year-old child of that. And so I remember going into it like being so scared, but then after that week was like one of the best experiences I ever had. And I remember it was just so cool. It was so fun. And then did it the next year and had another great experience at West Wilkes. And then to then go after that year, I believe, was when I wanted to do junior staff. And so I did junior staff, which was also ended up being at West Wilkes. And so that was really cool too, because back then, I'm not sure how it is now, but with J staff, it was really cool because you kind of got under the wings of the staff, and they kind of were like, not necessarily trying to mold you into a staff member, to be like, hey, like you, this could be cool for you. And so I remember Jenny Hinkle was one of the staff members at the time. And so I remember she was incredible help for me, and kind of said the same thing, like even if you like feel like you're not prepared, like just take that leap. And so I remember like at the time I was like going back and forth if it was something I want to do. Also, huge throwback with the paper applications. Completely forgot about that. Also forgot, I'm pretty sure I showed up, like, because I believe mine was an in-person interview. I think I remember driving down to the spot in Concord. And then I think I remember also being someone that just like showed up with like a button-up shirt and a tie and slacks.
That's right.
Because I was just,
I can picture you in that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to wear for this, so we're just gonna go with this. Because at the time, my only other job was the YMCA, and we very much did not wear button-ups and ties. And I just remember like taking that leap of faith and kind of like how it was that first year, where you don't know what you're gonna get, but that's what it's all about is the experience.
Yeah, and what you both got was Haley Kerr as your camp director, so I feel like you did okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great staff that year. I mean, like very memorable staff. Not just because Haley's still around and we talk about you all, but because you were a great team. What memories do you have of that? What do you feel like you learned from that staff in particular?
Honestly, for me, I'll go first on this one. It's just it was. I still talk about like the staff to like even my like athletes when they like ask about kind of like stuff over the summer I had done. In college and things like that, because I just felt like it was, because back then you had like the field coordinators and the program coordinators, and even though there was kind of the two subsets, we blended so well like throughout the whole kind of process. Like that was like the really cool thing, was just like we all just meshed so well, and like had such a great time. Like I went through some old photos, like finding different things that was just such a fun experience, being with everybody. And just kind of like all the like the funny memory. Like I still remember going back to like the protective parents destroying my windshield of my car because I told Allison that we would be able to fit a 2x6x10 in my car, and shutting the trunk, and it almost caught, and she was in the passenger seat, and I was like, oh yeah, I just need to throw a little bit more force, and I did it, and I was like, yes, and then I just hear a muffled no, and I like look up and I just see the like crack in the windshield. And it was just like the funny moments like that was just like so great, because like being around those type of people, like that kind of moment was like, it was not like, oh crap, like I just messed up my car. It was like, wow, what a funny moment to occur.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah. Allison, what about you?
I just remember, like, we were all such different people. And like some of us were loud and some of us were on the quieter side. Some were definitely morning people. I was definitely not a morning person. Like, don't talk to me before anything if you can help it. You had Wes, who dressed in full camo if he had the choice to. You had Andrew, who would wear, anything button up and a sweater, like, if he could. And I just remember the two of them would switch for Wednesdays, Wednesday mornings, and, like, just the campers ate it up because they just, like, they were just such opposites. Kind of in the real world, but in camp world, everybody was so similar. Like, we just all got to work. We worked well together. We could kind of pair off any way you needed it to be paired off. And we just were able to, like, get the work done and spend a lot of time with our campers and spend a lot of time really helping that area with a ton of projects and everything. So it still reminds me of, like, how just hard it is to find places where you get to work with different people.
Yeah,
and I think point. It's so specific, and it made it easier that, like, we all loved camp and we all loved being there, and we certainly all loved God. So that kind of made it the best part of all. So I think that was kind of what I remember from that staff, and other staffs had that as well. So
sure, yeah. So Adam, you were at Lloyd White the next year. Where were you, Allison?
I was at Lloyd White too.
Oh, you
Adam and I had
White?
years together.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Okay. And who was your director that year?
Molly Hayes.
Yeah. Molly, that's right. Okay, it's all coming to me.
So Molly was camp director, I was project director, and Allison Schrader was community director.
Sure, whatever the title was. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. We're back there for the first time in a long time. Last summer was our first year back, and I get to work there this summer. So it's such a special place to us. So that's cool. I forgot y'all were on staff together twice. That's awesome. Very cool. So let's talk about, like, that time. You're both pretty young coming into this, right? And the realization that you're a leader, right? And people looked at you as a leader and respected you as a leader. How did you navigate that? What was that like for you?
Honestly, I think for me, it was definitely, like, a challenging kind of moment to as far as, like, getting put into, like, being a leader for other people, just because I never really had that kind of experience. And also, what's the cool thing about CCC is that, you give these people who are just now growing up this chance to be a leader. And so it's a true sink or swim moment, but also at the same time, it's a true sink or swim moment where you still have that support from your directors. Like, I remember, like, so many, especially, like, at West Wilkes, like, with Alicia as our, like, field director, like, she was fantastic, like, such a great mentor, like, for me, and really, like, helped me, like, hone in kind of just getting into the field coordinator field, and just really helping out the kids, knowing, like, how much trust you can give going through, and then almost, like, trusting yourself, kind of teaching us the ways to be like, hey, like, you can be a leader, like, you do have this. It's just, can you believe in yourself to do it?
Yeah. That's good. What about you, Allison? How was it for you?
I think, like, going into staff training, I didn't really think about it. Like, I didn't think about leading campers. Right. And, like, I knew that was my job, but I didn't really think about it. And I think it was, like, the first week, and certainly as that first summer went along, like, I was like, oh, people, like, they ask me questions and they, like, need me to answer them. And, like, I need to know what is going on. And, like, but like Adam said, there was still kind of a safety net. And even as a first-year staff member, right, I had other people on staff that already knew the answers to some of those questions, and if not, we could get the answers. But it just, so I think throughout that first summer, it kind of hit more and more, like, oh, people are depending on me And people are looking up to me. And I think that set me up for my next couple of summers to really just go ahead and step into that a lot more and just be able to be like, okay. And I think for me, it was just a gradual, like, I can do this and we can do this together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, remembering everything now. And then the next year you said you were at McCall, right?
I took a summer off and I came back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All coming back. Okay. So I feel like I've lived 20 lives since all of this. But I mean, I think what's so interesting about the teams that you served with, and then Adam, we need to talk about you going to Honduras, because I will, like, I have the sweetest spot for your mom and dad because they were so nervous. But and had good conversation with both of them to say, I promise I'll take care of him. I promise I'll take care of him. But I think that thinking about that, like, we were talking before we started recording about just how different things are now. Like, the opportunities that people get now before they get on staff are different than what you all had before you came to staff, and it was a jump for y'all. It's an even more jump now, right? Like, for folks to, like, step into this leadership. And so I'm curious, as you think about your time at that age, and you both hang out with people staff age still, you know, so you have an idea of, like, people change, generations change. How did you hold the tension between doing an excellent job, because I know that was the expectation you all had from your directors, but also from yourself, and learning to just, like, be present with people? Like, how did you navigate and hold that tension, thinking about yourself at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, you know?
Honestly, I would say for me, what was kind of like, it was very much a big challenge, because it's one of the things that my coach says a lot that I do like is he says this term, like, the moments in between. And I feel like that's been something that's truly, like, resonated with me, because, like, you know, obviously you have those certain moments where we're going to be in front of people talking, like, whether it's worship, playing games, leading all the other kind of games that we would play and things like that. But then it's when you're just sitting down at breakfast or sitting down at dinner, talking to people. And I think for me, like, once I got to Honduras, what was great was it got me to the point where, like, I was just comfortable with, you know, like, sitting with whoever, talking with them, and building all these different connections. But then also at the same time, really kind of focusing, like, okay, I know, like, what our plan is for today, and also kind of in a way trying to get me to a point where I'm like Ginny or I'm like Alicia, where it's like, what's this moment that I can put someone in where they can feel like they're in that moment, where it's that kind of like, ooh, do I jump or do I stay kind of situation.
That's really good.
I think the hard part about being on staff was that there's, like, so much demand for your time. Like, when we woke up in the morning and left camp, like, I probably, you know, had a stack of paperwork of places I had to go visit, and, you know, all these things in the middle. And then you get a call from one of your groups and they're like, I don't know how to do this step. And you just, in that moment, had to just be like, can I talk them through it? Sometimes that was enough. A lot of times it was more of like, you know what, I have the 10 minutes now. And in the moment, that 10 minutes of being on their work site, to being, you know, to help them whatever step they were at, or to understand what they were doing, right? It didn't feel like enough to me. And then I get back to camp and they'd be talking about, like, how excited they were that I stopped by for 10 minutes. I helped them do this. They were able to do this all day long, right? So it kind of taught me, like, I mean, presence can certainly be about the amount of time, but it's more about the quality. Like, and are you sitting there talking to them while you're eating your lunch, or, you know, breakfast, dinner, stuff like that? Are you, you know, engaging in that few minutes you have? Because that few minutes may be enough. And, like, there was never enough time in the day, right? Like, I would have loved to spend all day on one site and gotten to know every kid on that site, but then there's, you know, I don't know, 4 other groups I had to go look at. There's 16 other groups. Like it, you know, there was always things, but I think sometimes it just came down to like that phone rang and that became the most important thing, and you just dealt with it at the time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, everything changes. It's funny, like I was talking to Salem, who is like kind of over programming right now as a whole, and she's like, I don't know if I have it all together. And I said, you never will. That's an impossible goal, right? The goal is more, do you have it enough together so that when everything changes from your plan, you can keep going, right? The goal is not to be perfect, because if that's the goal, we need to give up. We need to stop. We need to stop the whole thing, you know? So yeah, that's really good.
I
Thank
remember
you. That's
too,
good words.
like another challenge that for me was the parents when it came to Honduras. Funny enough, I got to tell you that since you brought it up, I was literally just on the phone with my mom right before this, just being like, "Oh yeah, like I'm going on talking about CC with Brittany and stuff," and she was like, "Don't let her talk you into going anywhere." She was like, "You've already gone, like you can't go again." And
That's fair.
which, like, Brittany, you are a saint, because I love my parents to death, but I know that was I was fighting that uphill battle.
Sure.
Which I mean, yeah, like with my brother, it was always difficult because, you know, trying to be the one to not go in a different direction in life, and so I remember with them being like, "I promise things will be fine." I was like, "I will have service to talk." I was like, "We can even pay for the overseas plan and all those things." But
yeah, and I was proud of them for letting you go. I was proud of you for saying yes to go. I remember that whole process of like selecting staffs, right? And I was like, I think Adam would be really great there. And everyone's like, cool, his mama's not gonna let him go. And I was like, I think we can do it, you know, like, and then once you were on board, I was like, I know we can do it, you know, like, and I think, listen, if that's the hardest thing I deal with, I'll take it any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it, because it's what a step for you and for them to go live in another country for 2 years and work entirely with people your age, right? I didn't go that summer. I stayed home and did other things that summer and just answered the phone when it rang. And so I wasn't there. I mean, it's a wild proposition to say, hey, let's all go spend the summer somewhere else. And you did, and you were great at it and offered so much wisdom to that team, because it was, you know, we had some new folks on that team that, I mean, Idis after that came and worked here for several years, you know, and I mean, it's just like thinking about you saying yes to that was really huge. And I know it was huge for you and your family too. So I'm so grateful you did it. Yeah. That was the first year we had 2 staffs there, and we ran, I looked back, we had 172 campers in Honduras that summer. Which is so wild. Yeah, to think that we pulled that off. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I think the other thing that's cool, just for your knowledge, and everybody listening, I guess, one of the boys from Pro Nino, I don't know if we worked there that summer. It was like the boys' place out in El Progreso.
Yes, we did. We took one group there.
Yeah, we have a boy from there on staff this summer.
That's incredible. Cool. That's so awesome. Cool?
Yeah, and he's serving in Kansas City this summer, and it's pretty cool. But, you know, like that moment of just like tying it together of like, this is that, you know, like what you did in 15 there is in 2026 is, you know, him being on staff this summer. So it's pretty cool. Let's talk about the people that you got to meet, the neighbors and the kids that you got to meet while you were hanging out. What did you learn from neighbors? What did you learn from the folks that you spent time with?
I think the big thing I learned was just how to start a conversation with people. Now it's a big ask. Like, we kind of invited ourselves into their house, and oftentimes when we were doing our kind of planning visits to someone's house, like it was maybe just yourself or like 2 of us from staff. And I found people were reluctant to have conversations, but if you ask them a question, they would answer the question, right? So I kind of learned how to do it And you look around, we talked about it staff training, like you look around, you see pictures of family, you ask them about, you know, oh, are these your grandkids? Are these your kids? Like, and they start talking, right? And we talk so much about how, like, it's not always the work that is the important work that we do. It's not the housework we're doing. It's the sitting and talking. And some of my favorite projects were like half day Friday ones where we're like cleaning the windows, which I showed up on staff and I was like, what do you mean we have a job called like window cleaning? But I remember like one lady, she was probably like 95 or so. She lived outside of Sparta, which was this tiny little town, and like I sat in her house for like an hour and a half to plan my, you know, project of cleaning her windows. And I knew that the group would take like 15 minutes. And like they did, but they also then vacuumed and cleaned up her kitchen. And they sat and talked to her for hours. And like they were like one of my last sites leaving the house that day because this lady just loved to talk, but she just didn't have someone to talk to, right? And I like learned the value of those conversations and how to start them, because it's not easy to start those conversations, but once you get them going, like most people are happy to like talk and engage and like keep them going.
Yeah, and Allison, did you find difference in like coming from Delaware to North Carolina and then you wind up in Sparta? Like there's a lot of like difference that could have made those conversations harder, but like navigating that, how did you do that?
Yeah, I think, you know, I for some reason, I don't think I have an accent, but I showed up and like I would knock on the door and they were like, you're not from around here. And I was like, nope, I'm from Maryland and Delaware, and which I did not think was that far away, but from some of these like more rural parts of North Carolina is like a world away. And so like there were people that pegged me straight away that I was not from the area. And so sometimes I got a little bit more of like a look or whatever, but sometimes that was also the start of the conversation, right? I could say, I grew up in Maryland, I go to the University of Delaware, and then they would be like, oh, I lived in Philadelphia for 20 years, right? So, you know, or they told me where they grew up. So it just became another point of talking. Or, you know, I'm a big Ravens fan, big Orioles fan, right? They would have like the Braves up on their wall, and I'd be like, it's a terrible choice, right? Or something, right? And so just right away, like you could start that conversation on like a fun difference, and it just led to more conversations. So
that's great. Yeah, sports are always where I go to if I'm stuck, you know. That's cool. Adam, what about you? What did you learn from your neighbors and from the kids in Honduras?
Yeah, I would definitely say for me, with as far as like neighbors, like I think my first year on staff was kind of like learning how to start a conversation. But like you said, Allison, like once you start it, like that's the hardest part, and then that's when it like flows so well. And so I remember just each year I feel like growing more and more into that, and kind of like each year almost being validated in it with like some random story. Like I remember, I still to this day, I actually still have the pen. It was the first woman I met besides my dad who had polio. And I remember that was at the West Wilkes site, and I was like so like just how a conversation can teeter and end up getting into this situation where you like find out this detail. And we had such a long conversation just about like how that was for her. She's asking about how it was for my father and like things like that. And just like once you kind of like have like a moment like that, I felt like it just so much easier to create those conversations because you never know what's going to come out of it. And I remember definitely with being in Honduras initially, obviously the language barrier. But like for me too, I think that was something that I was so proud with was with me minoring in Spanish was trying to truly put myself in that situation to have conversations.
Yes.
To truly like, and I to this day, that has been the best my Spanish speaking has ever been. Sadly, I have not kept up with it as well as I should have. I'm thinking about actually going back to school to finish my bachelor's.
Nice.
But I remember too, like then it was like almost like using all of those other moments to then fuel that kind of situation where you do try and create like bridges out of barriers.
Yeah.
And truly have like conversations. And also too, it's like, you know, the kids' faces light up when they're like, oh, like you can understand me, like we don't need a translator to help kind of transpire that. And so getting to have kind of like those true kind of moments, getting to know these kids was just something I still cherish to this day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think like thinking about 2015, right? Was that year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. So what we're 10, 11 years out of that, right? And all of those kids that you hung out with are grown, and you know, just like we get a really great opportunity to still know them, and a lot of them, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them, and it's just so interesting. Like, yeah, just that there's something magic about it. To be able, I like what you said, to build bridges out of barriers. I think that's the name of the game in both scenarios. Like even with you're talking about Allison, of like I'm also not from North Carolina and don't sound like I'm from North Carolina, and so anytime I knock on a door or make a phone call as well, it's immediate, right? Whereas Haley's got this voice that she can just like turn on, and Taylor has the voice where she can turn on. You know, like we have folks that can turn it on or have it already, and I don't have it, and so it is a barrier, right? Especially in rural North Carolina, it's a barrier to find trust. And so yeah, I think it's just like learning how to do that well and be in that. So let's talk about like who you are now, right? And what are some of the things that you took away from your time here and have been able to kind of put it into what you get to do now?
I think for me, I would say it's really cool to see, for me, when I like think about it like introspectively, how much CCC is like still impacts me to this day. Even in my job in sports medicine, you're building a relationship with these college kids, and just having these, like helping them through these difficult times, whether it's like through some injury or maybe we're not performing as well on the track or the field. And so it's like taking kind of those moments and just building relationships and truly like having these, I hate to use the word moments in between again, but like the moments in between of like, a lot of times like when a kid's in the training room, sometimes they just want to talk. Sometimes they feel like they don't have anywhere to go. And like I can help be that outlet or like that ear to listen to, and just kind of be there. And that's something that like CCC truly instilled in me. And also, on the funnier note, I am in charge of our social media for our UNCW Sports Med page, and I am the only one that will put my face on the camera. Like everyone else, like I'm like, oh, I'm having this idea, like, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, that's all you, my guy. And so, like, I truly like have CCC to thank for me being like just like this, like, I do not care if it's cringy. I do not care like if I am, like we did an episode or like a video recently where it was me guessing Gatorade flavors by them throwing the cup across like several feet and me trying to catch the Gatorade in my mouth.
Oh, good, yeah, perfect.
Which I only got 2 wrong.
Hey, go off. Yeah, there it is.
But it's like just like silly things like that I'm like, and like it's so funny because like our staff that's like older joke like this is perfect for you, like you go do this, and I like truly have like CCC to thank for that, because it just like I felt like I truly grew up while I was at CCC, and it just helped me kind of like be this person that's just like unafraid of how I may look from an outside viewer.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I think for me there's so many countless ways. But the two that kind of stick to my mind are, one, like learning how to be patient. And I learned that several ways at Cross Connection, which was like when you're working with a group of teenagers, like I know how to build a wheelchair ramp and I know how to paint, right? But that wasn't the point always, right? The point was to teach them how to do it.
Right.
And like that, like 3 years was of being on staff, like, finally taught me, like, you have to have that, like, level of patience and, like, understanding, and, like, sometimes you might have to explain it more than once. And certainly you have to explain it more than once, because you're going to teach one kid and then they're going to get good, and then you have to teach the next kid how to do it, because you can't teach more than one at a time because they won't pay attention. Right?
That's
so, like, that level of patience is just like that. Like, I've still had to, like, work and build on that, but that was, like, something that I really, like, learned as a staff member, and, like, use so much still working with youth today at church and other ways. Like, you can't do everything yourself. Like, you have to trust in other people and trust that, like, it might not take them the same amount of time, but, like, you know, you have to give them the time to do it. And the second part of that, I think, right, we talked about sharing, which was like, you give people the time, and you don't rush them. You give them the patience. You have to sit in that silence, to let them kind of be able to share. And, like, that silence is really awkward. And, like, I had to learn how to sit patiently in that time and, like, allow that space to exist, because that was like really important. And I still carry that a lot in kind of how I do some of the ministry things I do. And so, like, both of those examples of patient. And then the last thing that Cross Connection really helped me with was just, like, talking so openly about God. And like, grew up in the church, grew up being around church people and understanding that, but it just was different. And, like, trying to learn how to do worships and, like, sitting down and planning them together as a staff and, like, talking about that. And sometimes we often started with, like, just, how does this make you feel? And like, that was kind of new, to really do that so outwardly. I had continued to, like, learn how to do that. And like, now that's what I do at church, right? So it's just one of those things, like, and certainly, like, again, going to North Carolina, like, it was in North Carolina, it was a different culture around God and how people talked about it, you know, than it was in Maryland and Delaware. And so, you know, it was just learning pieces of that and seeing how different, you know, areas kind of embrace that differently. And so that was definitely the two parts.
That's so good. What a gift. I agree, right? Like, with everything y'all are saying, of it gave, not just because I work here, but it gave me everything skill wise that I got to build on, right? Like, it definitely learned a ton afterwards. It's not like it's the only thing I ever knew, but it definitely, those things, speaking to adults, speaking to youth, speaking to neighbors, speaking to people from a different culture, different nation, you know, like, learning how to do that with grace and dignity, you know, it's good. Yeah, so man, I'm proud of who you are. I'm proud of what you're saying. I think for me, and I would say for us as an admin team, things like this are so important for us to remember that it works. Because there are days that I'm like, what are we doing? You know, so thank you for the gift that you're giving me today, and that you'll give the team when they listen to it today, because every day it's like, are we still doing the right thing? You know, is this still the right way to go? And so, like, to hear people that are 10 years out of it, to still be able to speak to what you have learned and how it's helped you grow, just is a good fuel for me to remember when we stand in front of these people on Sunday, that 10 years from now, I hope I get to hang out with them and have similar conversations. So tell me, if you were to stand in front of these folks on Sunday, these new people that are coming in, it's a lot of new people this year, a lot of new staff. Staff is structured very differently from when you were on staff, right? But same idea, you know, same job, just maybe a different name. What would you say to them? These 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are, some of them flying in from Michigan and Arizona and, you know, from all these places, and then a lot just driving in from North Carolina and Virginia. What would you stand up and say to these people?
I would say first and foremost, embrace the uncomfortable. Like embrace it, sit in it, and know that like you're gonna come out of this so much better than you would have thought. Just because like you, like I remember like when I was young, like I was like, oh, like I know like who I am as a person, and it wasn't until I went through CCC that I was like, oh, I am so much more. And so, like I would say that as well as just enjoy that moment. Like I still think about Wes Wilkes, like still think about Honduras, Loy White, like all those. Like it'll be like something silly that happens at work that like reminisce, like you think of a memory or think of a moment. And like I'm truly so blessed to like have that. Yeah. And so like knowing that like things are going to be hard. Like I still show people my the wheelchair ramp specs that I've written up, just because when people think like, oh, you used to do things in construction, like, oh yes, we built some things. And having all that, and just being like proud, and just knowing that like you're gonna come out of it so much better than you would have thought.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I would say just keep rolling with everything. Like things move so fast paced, and you have to change every minute of every day. But in that change, I think you get to the better place, right? And it's the same thing kind of Adam was saying, like he thought he knew something, and by the end of the summer it looked completely different. And I remember at the end of the summer, like going back to school and being like, I spent 2 months like growing and learning and changing. And like I got back to school and I was like, other people didn't spend their summer doing that, like, and it just felt like it felt so interesting for the first couple of weeks back at school. And but yeah, I look back so much on everything that we did, all the silly stuff, but the hard stuff, and the late night conversations instead of going to bed, or the car ride conversations because we had an hour to drive, and whatever. So I think like just enjoy it and roll with everything, because you have no idea what's coming.
No idea. Yeah. Not even kind of. It's always funny to me if you were like, yeah, I got this, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you'll have the day planned at like 6 a.m. and it is already like changed by 6:30.
We would finish staff meeting and have a plan, and before we could get our shoes on to walk out the door, 3 people got phone calls and the entire plan changed. Like every day, right? Like, every day. Yeah. But so many times at the end of the day, we'd be like, what did you get done? We'd have our peaks and valleys, or what do we call them? Highs and lows? I don't remember. And like you just so many times you're like, oh, I didn't expect to have this high. And like, but because I said yes to this, and because I said yes to this, it led to this. So it's just kind of that, like, you got to keep saying yes to everything.
That's really good. That's really good. Well, now remembering that you were on staff for 2 years in a row together, have you seen each other in 12 years? No?
We have not.
I think so.
Okay.
No.
I don't think. Well, I guess, when was Allison's wedding?
I was going to say, I think probably Allison's wedding.
Yeah.
Which I think was
2016, 17, 14, something. One of those.
I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah,
I was there
that
too.
was a little West Wilkes reunion. Yeah.
That
was a little West Wilkes reunion too.
Yeah, it's good. That's cool. Well, what do you remember of each other, and listening to each other talk? That's got to be pretty cool. So we can end there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to see Adam. I remember him being just, down for anything, fun, excited. I hope I don't embarrass you, but Adam, when he sneezed, he like would propel himself off of the couch. So like I've told people that so much about Adam, and I just remember so fondly sitting on these like old couches in West Wilkes and Loy White, and just like watching Adam like propel himself up. But no, it's just had so much fun being on staff with Adam and everyone else I was on staff with, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say the same thing. Like, Allison was so kind. And I always enjoyed kind of like the field coordinator, kind of connection, and just like being able to bond over like the little things where it's like, oh my God, can you believe they forgot their circular saw? Or like just like showing like what like someone took, how they interpreted the plans that we drew. But also like Allison just being like cool, calm, and collected. And just I still remember too. I think it wasn't that same time I busted my windshield, but there was like another job site that we went to where we had to haul like so much lumber in that, like, was it, I forgot the name of the van, but it was one of the yes, it was very
Oh boy.
yep, it was that one, and we had to haul like it was like maybe like 100 some pieces of lumber. It was something crazy because it was a very long, but it was one of those projects that we had a donation that they like paid, like I can't remember where it was or who paid for it, but it was it was gonna be a very long project. I think it was a 2-week long project for the ramp.
Yeah, it was like $1,800 worth of lumber donated.
Yeah,
and it was gonna be like a 30-foot switchback that ended up being like 16.
Yeah. I remember that. We did the plans and drew it up, and then it ended up being 16 because I think the house was almost at an angle. And it was at a hill, and so
it was on a hill in the middle of nowhere. Like it was like 10 minutes past the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, and I remember we had to deliver that lumber, and it was just a solid good day.
Y'all want to know something that'll make you frustrated? Is Lowe's delivers all of our lumber now. They don't even know what a lumber delivery is.
Stop. Well, that's like that's like I was just thinking about it too. Like the other thing that the kids probably don't do now is when we had to write down instructions to get to the houses.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
I remember like thankfully my parents had an old Garmin. Or a TomTom or whatever it was, and I had to like put that in to be like, all right, when you go 3 miles on your odometer and you see the red house with a blue mailbox, turn left. If you see the greenhouse, you've gone too far. Turn around.
Y'all would throw your computers at me if we went through some of the stuff that is happening now. But yeah, they don't know lumber deliveries. They do know dump runs, which is good, but they don't know that full 3 days of just pulling lumber at Lowe's and taking it and dropping it off in county.
I will say,
oh my God, yeah.
This is a funny thing. I had a staff shirt that was like lumber delivery shirt. It was a weird color. And I don't know, it looked kind of like it was like a mustard yellow, but a little brown too. And I like wore it like probably about every Friday of free camp. Just because it became my lumber delivery shirt, and like I still have it in my closet, and every once in a while, if something like important comes up, I'll be like, it's time for lumber delivery.
It's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, everybody has their favorite one that's worn just a little bit exactly right, so that's good. But friends, I'll say it, I'll keep saying I'm so proud of who you are and grateful that you're still a part of this. I think one of the greatest gifts I get in this role is to get to talk to folks that we got to hang out with you when you were 19, 18 years old and see who you become. It's always fun. It's always encouraging, right, to see, and thanks for staying connected with us and being a part of this family, because now more than ever, I think, at least in my time here, we need you all to speak into who we are and to remind us of what we're doing. And yes, I'm just so grateful that we got to hang out with you today. So anything else you want to share? You feel like we shared it all? We good? All right.
I think so.
All right. Juanfer, you good? Okay. Haley, do you want to add your commentary?
I have to say, my memory of Alice, first of all, when I was trying to show Juanfer pictures of our staff, we were like Velcro to each other at all times. Like, I was like, oh, there's us on the couch.
You all had to touch all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would just be like watching something on somebody's phone, but it was just like, and then
Yes.
I was telling him how we all slept in the same room, and so, which they do now, but like that wasn't always the case, like with
No,
stuff.
that
Yeah.
was new.
But how we all slept in the same room, and we would just be like, and then I like distinctly remember how Kristen Jeans would be talking to me, and then I would just roll over. So I'd be like, okay, I guess we're going to bed. I was like, I'm sorry.
Haley was always the one like, guys, we need to go to bed.
Yeah.
She played the camp director role, very
I
important.
was telling Whomper that with Allison, you would sleep with juice under your pillow because your monitor would go off at night, and then you wouldn't wake up, and we'd be like, Allison, juice!
Yeah, not much has changed.
And then with Adam, that we would we were like trying to prep him to go to college, and we're like, okay, here's how you do laundry. Here's okay, when you take a girl on a date, you are not taking her to
Olive Garden.
Yes.
That was like, we're like, when you take her to a nice place like Olive Garden. I think we even went to Olive Garden like at the end of the summer as our like nice treat.
And then we would just make
Oh,
Adam
just
try
man, he
things
did it.
he'd never tried before, like watermelon. I think like tomatoes. Like we would just be like, okra.
Yeah, there was so many things because like my parents, it was so funny because like growing up, they'd be like, "Oh, like you need to eat this," and I would just be like, "No," and they're like, "Okay." They're like, "All right," like we tried. Like,
oh, it's great. Oh,
that's so
mercy.
bizarre. I forgot all of that. Oh my god. Oh, I showed people the photo of us, Haley, where because I joke that the reason I'm so bald is when I dyed my hair. On the fourth, I think it was the last week of camp. And I remember I started college with my hair dyed, and it was so funny because it would always be the people that like it actually like they like knew about like hair coloring and things like that because we didn't do my eyebrows, so they'd be like, "Is that your natural hair color?" And I would have to go through a whole like almost like a whole script where I was like, "This is what happened. I was a camp counselor." Like
For some reason, the boys all used like bleach.
Oh, what?
And the girls all used one-time wash out.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't know how Wes didn't get killed because, like, he dyed his hair, and then, like, 2 weeks later was his sister's wedding.
Yes.
So, like,
I forgot
he
about
has
that.
to have, like, ridiculous hair in these, like, family wedding pictures. And, like, I'm not sure, like, how that split happened. But I just remember like walking out and being like, "You all like dyed your hair," and we were like bleached it. You like
much of
bleached
like that summer.
Yes. Yes.
Because it was y'all, Kristen, Wes, Allison,
Allison, Alicia,
Andrew.
Alicia, Andrew.
and
so
Andrew.
we really,
What
when
a
they
team.
were saying earlier how it was really like everyone just did everyone's job. It truly was like that. Like I don't know if I was ever on a staff where it was just like we all just did things together, and it was never like oh well, I don't do that, that's not my job type
I was
thing.
gonna say, I think we like there was always everybody was in the tool shed, like
Yeah, I think we
was
just did
always,
everything
like-
together. That's also probably why.
yeah.
We just
Yeah,
were
we'd all
never
go in the tool
separate.
shed.
It worked.
We'd all write on the songs when we had the song sheets. I never wrote because I had horrific handwriting, but
Side shows now.
That
That
was
another
the thing.
thing.
Like
Side
by
shows
the time we were done, like by the time I was on staff, we had like my last year, we had the projectors, and I was like, we don't have to do song sheets. Like I was so bad.
We've come so far. We've come so far.
Yeah.
Well, friends, I've taken a lot of your time, so thank you for giving it, and I hope to see you in real life someday. And would love to hang out with you. And now I'm gonna take Haley to dinner for her birthday. So.
Fancy.
Yeah.
You going to Olive
I'm going
Garden?
to camp this summer, but so Adam,
No, I'm
You
not.
need to come to camp.
You're not coming?
No, I'm not coming. My group is. It was the 1 week. By the time it was the 1 week I couldn't go. We have our family reunion that week, and by the time we like got everything settled, I know I'm bummed, but I'm happy to like.
But
I was gonna say with Richmond now being like so much closer, I'm like,
Yes.
yeah,
That's the goal.
so
That is the goal.
that's so just yeah. So there's a coastal one now too. So that's
Yeah,
over
it's
my.
Outer
but
Banks.
it's not close to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying it's Outer Banks.
Yeah,
It's still like
it's
3.5,
far.
but that's closer than Asheville.
That's true. That is closer
that's
than
a good
Asheville.
point.
closer than Loy White. Y'all are welcome anytime to come hang out. You just gotta give us a little call, and you just come. We'll put you to work, and it'll be good. Cool. It's always so good to hear from people that I've watched grow and experience what they're doing now and learn from them. It's such a gift. We just wrapped staff training for 2026. Our staffs are all in their locations, doing visits and meeting with the community and learning more about their job in their locations. And so we just ask for your prayers as they continue to plan, knowing that this group of staff will be someone I hope I get to talk to in 10 years about what God's doing in their life now. And so we invite you to join us in this work. You can do that through giving to the One campaign or giving to staff partnerships, which helps us cover the staff cost and the project cost for the summer. And we invite you to do that. You can go to crossconnection.org/one, and give in that way. We invite you to do that. And as always, we want you to stay curious, to find someone to serve today and to just be in community, because that is where we find our source. Thank you so much for being a part of this community and listening to us today. We hope you have a great rest of the day.